Yo, it's your boy 1D215 back with another video. Recently, Jim Jones went on Fat Joe's and Jadakiss podcast. He also went on Shannon Sharpe podcast. He went on Nightcap, not the other one. He went on Nightcap, not Club Shay with Shannon Sharpe and Shag Johnson, right? And it's this uproar in the hip-hop industry about some things that Jim Jones was saying. Some people call it blasphemy. Some people call it betting on yourself and having confidence in yourself. And some people was in the middle. Most people say it's blasphemy, though. And I'm one of them people. Jim Jones must got some of the best reefer ever known to man. Because anytime a guy like me, I ain't the biggest Nas fan. I'm not. I like Nas. I respect his body of work, his craft. The fact that he was doing it for so many years, that's still putting a positive influence on the hip-hop industry and the culture or what have you. So I respect him. But anytime I'm coming out in defense of Nas, y'all know. This guy is on, I don't know. He's the oldest YN I ever seen. Jim Jones, we talk. He's the oldest YN I ever seen. The guy is stuck in the past. And that's neither here nor there, because you're only as old as you feel. Maybe that man feel like he's 24 years old. And I salute him for that. I wish I felt 24. And I'm younger than him. You know, Jim Jones, 48 going on 49 years old next month. But the fact that he even uttered Nas' name as far as in comparison with himself is just a testament of how delusional one's mind can be. Because, man, I go back with this hip-hop stuff. I'm not as much as a hip-hop fan no more because I don't really listen to the new music. I still listen to hip-hop, but there's a lot of old stuff. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna say I don't know no new artists, but I don't know. I can't count on one hand how many, you know. I probably know maybe 2 or 3 at the most. You know, I don't really, to keep it real, no shade, I don't bang with these new artists. And it seemed like Jim is more is more in with the new. That's where the conversation started, because I believe it was a young guy, like 23 years old, and he was naming off artists. And he put Jim like at the top as far as like old school artists or just artists in general. I didn't see the clip, but that's what they was talking about on the podcast with Jada and Fat Joe. So yeah, when you're more relevant now, and I can't even say that because Nas is relevant. Period. Nas' name ring bells in the hip hop culture. It just does. Whether he's still selling albums or not. He's a pioneer in this thing. And he's not one of them pioneers like a LL Cool J or somebody on that. Y'all know I'm going back. LL Cool J is a pioneer because he started a long time ago and was successful. Nas is a pioneer because he had a whole body of work. A body of work spanned in 30 years. His first album, Illmatic, right? And I'm not even a Nas fan, right? I'm a Nas fan, but I'm not a Nas lover. You know, some people that know every lyric, every word, every whatever. His first album, Illmatic, is still a renowned album as one of the greatest hip-hop albums of all time. And that came out 30 years ago. Illmatic came out 30 years ago. Now, did he have some misses? Yeah. We all I can't name one artist that been out for a long time that didn't have no misses. Whether it was a beat, whether it was lyrics, whether it was timing, whether it was... We used to critique videos back in the day. Videos is like a thing of the past now, but even the actual video. So people had stumbles along the way, and Nas is privy to that as well. I'm not saying he's the perfect artist, but when you put him that... See, here's the thing. Because everybody's saying Nas, is when you put him in the same light as a Jim Jones. When Jim Jones put himself in that lane, that's why it's laughable. That's why I was like, yo, what did you talk about? That's why Nas getting props out the wazoo, because is Nas a great artist, great MC, rap Hall of Famer of all time? Yes. But he's still subject to some type of scrutiny. It's people that didn't like Nas' flow, his style. It seemed like after the movie Belly, his whole aura changed a little bit. So Nas had flaws, but the problem is when you put him next to a guy like Jim Jones. And no knock on Jim Jones. Jim Jones was influential in the rap industry. It was more on like a fashion thing, because he's a snazzy dresser. He was like one of the first rappers, if I'm going back, and I might be wrong on this, I'm just saying one of the first rappers that I remember to wear like the tight look. Like not tight, but slender. He was getting slim before everybody else was. He had a wave when it came to this whole fashion, with the little bone, the little skulls on his belt and on his wrist. He was influential in the way in hip hop. But Nas is on a different scale. He's not even on a different scale. He's in a different atmosphere. He's in a whole different stratosphere when you put him next to Jim Jones. Now, if it was somebody like Jay, DMX, somebody, even Jada, then you could do the compare and contrast. There's no compare and contrast when it comes to Jim Jones. And that's, like I said, it's no knock on Jim. Jim, like I said, he had an influence on the game. I give Jim credit because he exceeded expectations. Nobody expected Jim Jones to even be relevant now, more or less compared to 10 years ago. 20 years ago when he really was doing his thing. Jim was always like known to me, and I could be wrong, I don't know the ins and outs of Diplomats or nothing, but from what my eyes seen back in the day when they had their movement, Jim was like a hype man. Jim was like a sidekick. Jim was not, like, he was not Cam, he wasn't Jewels, he wasn't Mace, even though Mace wasn't really in the Diplomats, but he's part of that history. He wasn't a guy. He was a hype man / I'm here, or I'm here to look cool, or whatever. He was part of the crew, and don't get me wrong, he was a diplomat. I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm just saying, nobody expected Jim to be, relevant still and make albums, and he had his joint, Fly High. That joint was nice, and he had another joint. He had two, that I would consider great songs, maybe 2.5, because he had the joint with Game. Y'all can tell me in the comments. He had a song with Game too, which was good. But I was trying to think of the song right off the cusp. But y'all should know the song that he made with Game. That joint was alright. He had two. I'll give him maybe 3 songs that people would instill in people's head from back in the day, and it'll last for the test of time. I give you credit, and I'm giving you even more props because I ain't gonna say people. I'm gonna say me, because I don't know how people feel. I never thought Jim Jones would make it as far as he did in the rap game. To me, he was never like a lyricist. He was a flashy, not well-dressed hype man. To me. And look at him now. Now some people say he making himself relevant because he got people like me talking on camera to y'all about him. And maybe, I guess he succeeded. If this was just a publicity stunt to get his name in it, he succeeded that. So he's probably a hell of a businessman. Who knows? But when we talking about hip hop, Jimmy, you are on some reefer that I don't even smoke, but I want some of that. I want some. You ever heard of Puff Puff Give? Can you pass that? Because there's no way. There's no way. Then he talked about the Billboard charts. Now when he got on Shag Johnson and Shannon Sharp podcast, he did explain himself, like I made a boo-boo or whatever. Because I'm like, bro, did you Google this before you said that? Because he was on Fat Joe's podcast and Jada podcast talking about, I had more Billboard top one. It ain't even a comparison. And I don't got the numbers in front of me, but it's not. It's not. I didn't even have to look it up, and I just knew Nas got way more top 100, top 10, whatever. So it's like, come on with the Nas. I'm like, wait, is he serious? Now, I will say this. I'm a little disappointed in Fat Joe and Jada. Just a little bit. Now, I know if y'all don't know they got a new podcast, y'all check it out. You know, two hip-hop legends. I'm not throwing too much shade on the podcast per se, but just the fact that y'all two of the great MCs in the game from that era. And y'all allowed this man to get his shit off. Now, I get, when you got a guest, you got to allow them to get their shit off. But he was getting his shit off a little too much. Especially when there's this rhetoric. This was bullshit. Now, they did try to stop him. You can tell Jim Jones is one of those, you know, he's very charismatic and he's very passionate. And I get why he is. Probably because he was behind the 8 ball ever since he came out. A lot of people do throw shade with his name. Jimmy ain't no rapper. Jimmy get writers. Jimmy this. Mace wrote for him. I get it. And I get having pride and betting on yourself. But you can't, that's like me saying I'm better at, like, anything that's, I can't even think of it, but something that I know somebody is way better than, I'm not going to play myself. Yeah, am I going to have confidence in myself? Am I going to think myself is going, I'm going to succeed in any endeavor I do if I put my mind to it? Yeah, it's good to have confidence. But that was borderline cringeworthy, just seeing him fix his lips to even say some shit like that. It was like, Jim, like, what? Who? Not? Did you say Nas? It's crazy. It's crazy, so. But getting back to my thought, I'm a little disappointed in Fat Joe and Jadakiss because y'all all on the couch together. He talk about how he greater than this person. And he not even greater than y'all. And I'm not saying that as no slight, because Fat Joe and Jadakiss is two titans and two icons in the rap industry. If you know, you know. So, like, you're not even better than us. And they probably don't feel, I don't know, I ain't going to put words in the man's mouth, but they probably don't feel they has got a better catalog or a better career than Nas. So how you going to say that to us? And we not even better than them, but we better than you. You're not even better than us. Like, and not even just for that, because that's a tidbit, but just for the simple fact like I said, they let him get his shit off too much. I ain't gonna say it was disrespectful to Nas, but it was just like I said, it was hella cringe. Because you can see Fat Joe trying to put his word, and he talking, you know, first of all, I never had a podcast. All I got is this little funky YouTube channel. But if I did have a podcast, the guest is well respected, and I appreciate you for coming on, whatever. But this is our shit. You can't talk over us. It ain't going, like, I don't care who you is. And that's not me being tough, but that's just me being a businessman and having morals and people skills. We invited you here, whether it was against your will or whether we had to pay you or whatever, but this is still a business. So it's like they was letting him, I don't know, kind of take over. I think Jada tried to talk. It was just, I'm like, yo, I know y'all new to the podcast game, and I'm no podcaster. I don't know. But I'm just saying, just me as a man, I'm not letting nobody talk over me on my own podcast and saying, yo, let's get it straight and taking your glass up. Not saying there was nothing like physical or no, like, you know, malice. Men talk. Like, we get aggressive when we talk. I'm used to that. We get loud. But it's like, this still, this a business. We showing this to millions of people. We can't talk. We ask you, so you've been talking for the last 3 minutes, bro. We trying to get a rhetoric, back and forth, a nice rebuttal for some dialogue. You just saying, that's how we know it. You don't believe it in your mind, because you're not even letting nobody get a word in edgewise. That's just me. That was just a little, like, tidbit I had to add in there, because I'm watching. I'm like, is they going to cut him off? Cut his mic off. He not even letting nobody rebuttal to the bullshit he's saying. But overall, this ain't no Jim Jones hate. This ain't no Nas love. This is just facts. Anybody with 2 ears, if you was born back in that time, and you was around, whether you was a teenager or a young man or a young woman or whatever, you just knew there's no way this man is putting himself in this man's space. It can't happen. It's disrespectful. It's borderline disrespectful. Then, a couple more points I want to touch on before I let y'all go. He talked about how, I was in high school and I looked up to Nas, because he was giving Nas his flowers. He wasn't just straight disrespecting Nas, saying he corny or whatever. But he was saying how he was a Nas fan. I was in school, I looked up to Nas. Bro, you 3 years younger than Nas. Let's not make it seem like, y'all, it's this big, like, you grew up under him. Like me and Michael Jordan. Like, I grew up watching Michael Jordan. I can say that because Michael Jordan got like fucking 15 years on me or whatever he got. Shit, Mike, matter of fact, Mike might have fucking damn near 20 years on me. Now that I think about it, yeah, Michael Jordan got like 20 years on me. So I grew up watching Michael Jordan. When Michael won his first ring, I was like, what, 7? Or however old I was. His first ring, he got 6. So that's something I can say in my age range. Nigga, don't make it seem like Nas this old. He from a, and that's how I know that Jim Jones think he a YN. Like, cause he like, you're 48, he 51. He not 60 and that. That bothers me. And then another point that bothers me on the Jada and Joe podcast was when he said when he asked Fat Joe, no, when he said my son's whatever old, he don't know no Nas song. And Jada was like, well, my son do. He was like, see, that's your son. My thing is, you a whole rapper, you claim to be this acclaimed rapper. You got a grown son, a young man, grown son, and he don't know who Nas is, or he don't know none of Nas raps. Let me not pipe it, act like he say. I think he said he don't know none of Nas raps. That's an embarrassment of you as a dad. And I'm not going to like get personal and make it seem like you're a bad dad. I don't know, but that's still a notch. That's a blemish, a blemish on your father, because you a rapper. How your son don't know one of the greatest rappers of all time, or don't know a song from one of the great? No, like I could see if you was a lawyer, a chef, a custodian, and Nas is from a whole different era, which he is, and you got a son that's growing up in this era. And he just don't happen to know no Nas song. That's different. That's different. For a 23-year-old, yeah. You a rapper. You grew up, you came up in this rap game, and your son came up under you. He don't know no Nas lyric? That's a blemish on you, not Nas. I don't know, y'all. But we're going to nip this one in the bud. Tell me what y'all think. Who's the better lyricist? Who you got? Joe or Nas? I got a funny feeling what y'all answer going to be. Hit the like button, tap the notify bell so y'all can see when my videos come out. This was a quick one, but we had to talk about it. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.